Hi, Arik. It's great to have read your personal statement. Thanks for sending it in. My name is Mohammed Ziauddin, and I run the blog called dentalschoolcoach.com. Now, with your essay, I really enjoyed reading it. It had some great stories, but you need some improvement, and I give you that feedback in this essay. So, without any delay, let me jump right in and give you some feedback to start with, and then I'll go really deep with the feedback. So first of all, you have really good paragraphs, except the first one. I don't really understand the first paragraph, but you have some good paragraphs where you talked about your research process, and you also talked about your shadowing process. I really love how you're enthusiastic about becoming a dentist, and establish that patient doctor relationship. That really impressed me. Keep that level of excitement and enthusiasm in your personal statement. But I gotta say, I got to say that some of your starting, like the way that you started, didn't really appeal to me, so I didn't have the compelling hook to read forward. So that's something you want to look for. Also, the first sentence is tremendously confusing. I don't really understand what you mean by this. After 7 application cycles, I was so grateful when my father told me he was accepted to a residency program. This is kind of like, I don't understand how old are you, like how old your dad was. So it was kind of like hard for me to understand what's going on. Make it simple, and then, give me a picture of like how old your dad was and how old you are, and why are you grateful instead of him being grateful. So those kind of things are gonna come up. And the next thing you said, my father has inspired me to pursue higher education so that I may help serve others. This is a very generic statement, and you don't want to make that kind of mistake, because generic statements tend to take out real estate from your essay and make your essay very generic and not unique. So I would say make sure that you don't have any generic statement in your essay. Every sentence has to earn its way. Every paragraph has to earn its way into the essay. And then the final thing that you wrote in the first paragraph, you said, first and foremost, I want to have a meaningful occupation in which I may provide others with some type of benefit. Yes, that's what you're going to be doing, but not by writing this. However, I'm a very family oriented person, and I also desire a balance between my professional life and family life. I like how dentistry is hands on and requires fine motor skill, which is an exciting challenge. I found myself enjoying the outpatient settings as well as the wide range of patient populations. Yes, that's absolutely important. Everything that you said is widely important, but they should not be in the first paragraph. The first paragraph is just for creating that compelling hook, or creating that really catchy introduction story. It doesn't have to be always a story. I mean, most of the time it is a story. I would say 99% of the time it's going to be a story. If you look at my essay, the way that I started it was, I gave like a chanting phrase, and then said, chanted the village magician back in Bangladesh as he tried to heal my grandmother's toothache. So this is a story of, like, how my family was financially not established, so we had to struggle to go to dentist, and we could not afford it. And then I bring it forward to explain that financial struggle is still an issue for us, that we are an immigrant in the US. So make sure you have a story like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be my like mine, financial disadvantage and whatnot. Your story is gonna be different, but it's gonna be a story. Your story is your story, and I want to see that story flash out right in the first paragraph. Now the second paragraph, I think the second paragraph needs a bit improvement as well. uh, let me talk about what improvement in it. You talk about your undergraduate studies, but you never mention any kind of academic accomplishment. You mention more about being an RA. Yes, being an RA is an extracurricular activity that will help you as a dentist, But now give me something that you have accomplished in the process. Did you change someone's life? Did you make an impact in someone's personality, or make sure that conflicts are managed and whatnot? So give me a story that tells me. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, give me some stories about your being an RA. It's yes, your educational experience is important, but specific examples are more important. Have you impacted someone's life being an RA? Also, your academic accomplishment has to be fleshed out. Did you you know do you do you have some type of some type of achievement academically, like you won a scholarship, or you worked so hard for some classes that are really hard for you, and you got a good grade. Those type of stories are cliche, but they're important. They tell a story about your patience, perseverance, and how hard you can work. um Next, I really like the paragraph where you talked about your experience as doing the DRDR program. But this first sentence is really long. You need to make sure that the sentence structures are short and crisp. Um, you said that this experience made you appreciate how clinical dentistry research is like it made you appreciate the clinical dentistry research. But the thing I'm gonna ask you is how. Like, you just explain you did something and then you tell me a result of it, but you don't explain how it happened. I'm interested in how you have come to appreciate the clinical research process, or why is it important to you, and you know did you change something, like did you impact someone's life, did you change the way that research was done, or did you have some important benefit out of it. Yes, you mentioned like effective communication, but the best way to do it is about writing an example, or a story of one single person that you have impacted. So think of how I have written my personal statement. If you can view it in my website. I am about to go and do an analysis of that essay at some point. Look, this essay I talked about the international youth scholar program that I've done, and in that program I mentored several people. I mentioned about one person, Abdi. Just one person has a big impact. In psychology, uh, it's called the one person effect. Basically, it means that if you bring out the story of one person and really make it graphic, people are going to be more inclined to listen to that story. So make sure you talk about one single person you have had an influence on, you created a lot of a close connection with during that research process. And this paragraph I absolutely love. I think you did a really good job talking about the experience you gained at the dentist office, and it's really important that you are enthusiastic about your future career. That's really, really important. And I also love this sentence. Is really just stands out to me, like, oh my god, this guy just got this, he nailed the essay. One thing I would add is that yes, it's the people that you see at the dental office, but what about the people outside of the dental office? Like, for example, my dentist had to communicate with physicians and nurses, as well as pain psychologists, to do some treatment planning at some point. Which means that he did not just limit himself to the office that he was working at, but due to the patient population he was serving, he had to communicate with doctors and nurses and pain psychologists to make sure that the patient gets the better treatment in the long run. So if you have stories like that, make sure you bring it out. I've sincerely and thoughtfully come to realize that dentistry is a career path, and that will not only allow me to serve others, but will also bring me joy while doing so. I believe that my personal educational extracurricular experiences that have provided for me the prereq knowledge, leadership, interpersonal skills, and professionalism that are necessary to become a successful dentist. Yes, that's great, but even then, it's pretty dry. I'm gonna say it's really dry. You need to make it more of excitement. I highly recommend watching Steve Jobs' Stanford commencement speech from 2005. Um, it had a really nice finishing touch. If you see the speech, it's succinct, and at the end, it just brings everything back together. It says, "Stay foolish, stay hungry." Now, I use that in my personal statement. I kind of like took that sentence and made it such that it sounds like what he was talking about. So as I continue to advocate for increased accessibility to dental care for financially disadvantaged patients, I understand that progress will be slow. For now, I vow to stay focused, stay patient. Something like a hook will do. It's gonna be important that the dental outcome remembers you. If they do not remember you, you're gonna be rejected. If they read your essay and they're like, wow, this guy is amazing, and they put your essay in for the interview, you have a shot. But if they don't, you don't have a shot. So a really good essay even compensates for low GPA, low DAT score. So make sure this essay has lots and lots of stories. It reflects the enthusiasm that you mentioned here. At the end, don't be boring. Make me emotionally engaged with your essay, and that's the job that you have for your second draft. All right, hit me up with your second draft, and also if you have any question for the dental school application process, just send an email at zia@dentalschoolcoach.com. I'm also including my personal email here, since you're Bengali, I'm Bengali. I read every single email, so just shoot me an email, and remember, every sentence has to earn its way. All right, take care, Arik.